All right. So does anyone else have any other questions about the instrument at all, or using the readings? All right. One other thing is, if you do activate that panic alarm, to do that, again, it's press and hold this panic button for 3 seconds. And it'll go into alarm, and on the screen it will say panic. Okay. So to exit out of that, you actually have to press and hold the enter button for 3 seconds. And whenever you do that, that will clear out the panic alarm. And then right there, as you can see, that's where my battery symbol's starting to come up. And that's because this one, it was off the charger this morning, and it was dead. So I had to throw it on charge before class here, and it didn't get a full charge. To get a full charge from completely dead to completely full, 5-hour recharge time. Okay. Now, with a battery that's, half full, half dead, however you want to call that, it would be 2.5 hours. So, all right. So I'm going to take and I'm going to throw that. Oh, before I put it back in the charger, to shut it off, you have a couple ways. One, you could just throw it into the charger, or you could throw it into the docking station. That will start the charging process, and it will shut the unit off. Or you can press and hold the power button. When you press and hold the power button, it comes up and it does a countdown. The countdown goes all the way down to 1, but just keep holding it until the pump stops, and then you can let it go. And then the screen will shut off here in a second, and the instrument will be off. So. All right. So that is it over the overview of the instrument right there. The only other thing I wanted to show you guys real fast was just the iNet control system. So let me bring that up. All right, and share. So this right here is your iNet control screen, and this is the system that you have in order to be able to view the records of your instrument, be able to make changes, anything like that. So with that, what we're going to do is we're going to come here. If you go to equipment, this is going to show you your equipment right here. It's going to show you your docking station. So if I click on the docking station, it comes up, I can see what type of docking station it is. It's auto emailing the certificates to Brandon right there. And then whenever I come down here, I can see here's my gas bottles that are hooked up, and it shows that the pressure is full. And if I actually click on view, let's go to this one right here, I can see, okay, here's when it expires, here's all the information with it, and what concentrations are in it. So this is your 4-gas bottle right here. And what I can actually do is if I click on calculate right here, it's going to show me how much of the gas has already been used. So this is a 58-liter cylinder, and it's already used, 2.46 liters out of that whole bottle. Now, the reason for that is it sits there and it goes and it says, okay, see, it did a bump test and a bump test. So it's saying, all right, it ran for a duration of 10 seconds. The, pump runs at a half of a liter per minute. So, it just does that whole math to figure out, okay, this is how much of that has actually been used. Okay. And as you can see right here, it has bump in there. If I actually take bump out, it should come up and show us the calibrations too. Yep, right there. So there we go. Because that's how I can filter things out. Up here, I could say, okay, if I only wanted to view bump tests, I could type in bump, show me just the bump test. Same thing with calibration right there. So going back to my equipment list, and what I can do right here is under instrument, I can view the instrument itself, and we can come down here. We can see all the stuff going on with it. We can see the components, each sensor. We can also see the last calibration right here, and we can see the last bump test. All right. Now, if we want to force it into a bump test or a calibration, we just can click those buttons. Or if we come up here to the right-hand side and we want to view any historical stuff such as alarms, right here we can do that. Or the certificates for those. So these are the most current ones. And then down here is our all history. Okay, so if I wanted to view all the calibration, here we go. Here's all the calibrations. And right here we could see a manual calibration. Manual calibration is going to show up every time you zero the instrument. Okay, because as I said, it comes up and it says, hey, this is a calibration of the O2 sensor. So it registers it as a manual calibration. All right, then coming back down in here, going down the page, you can see all the options and everything else. You can type notes in. So say you lose the instrument, you can type in, we lost the instrument here, or needs repaired. All can be done right there. Under options though, right here, if we click on edit, this is where we can get into all the options for the instrument. So you can put like your company name right there, what station you are, like station 1, station 2, whatever, and that will pop up whenever the instrument turns on. As you come down, here's where you can change all your bump test settings, okay, on the instrument itself. This is just for the warnings and everything else. As you come down, here's your TWA alarms that I was talking about. This is where you can change the time base. You can change it from like an 8-hour period to 10, 12, whatever you want to change it to. And as we come down here as well, this is where we can do some of the other changes, such as alarms on when docked. If you actually uncheck that, it will do a silent bump test on the docking station. It still tests the speaker. It does it by doing a circuit test on it, but it does not actually enunciate the alarm. So it allows it to do a silent bump test. As we come down, man down alarm even, basically this unit can be used as a pass device as well. So you could have the man down alarm turned on, and if you remain motionless, it will go off just like your pass device on your SCBAs. Coming down even farther, here's those custom startup messages that I talked about. And just a whole bunch of other settings using iAssign, things like that. Those are just other little features that you can use on these instruments. And then coming down even farther, here's all of there's just a ton of options in here. A lot of these are things that you're not using right now, and unless you get a bunch of instruments, you're probably not going to, such as the wireless communication, where they will communicate with each other. As we come down even farther, though, here's where our sensor settings are. Now, with the sensor settings, this is what I was talking about with the alarm TWAs and the STELs. And if you're not going to use TWAs and STELs, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to crank these numbers as high as they'll go to keep it from ever actually getting into the STEL or the TWA. So you would just come in here and you would just change that value all the way up. Okay. Same thing with all of your normal gas settings. So say if you have a particular low alarm that you want to use or high alarm, you would do that. Once you've made the changes that you want, you come all the way down to the bottom. You would just say, okay. I'm going to click cancel because I don't want to accidentally make any changes to your instruments. And then what you would do is you would take the instrument, stick it onto the docking station, and the docking station will actually push all those changes for you. All right. And then the other thing I wanted to show you on here is up here at the top under equipment. If we go to event schedule, this is where it does the bump tests and calibrations, and it does it based off of this schedule right here. So here's that bump test I was telling you. Every day at 2 a.m. is the default. So if we actually come in here, we click on edit, you can come down and you can change that to hourly. So say you wanted it to reoccur every 24 hours, every 12, every 8, every 6, however you wanted to do that. And then it would do that, saying that every time you docked it after a 12-hour period, it would run through a bump test. The other way to do it is, just leave it as default, which, we have it in here as our daily, okay, every day at 2 a.m. And then also on docking. If you check that on docking, what will happen is every time you dock the instrument, it will do a bump test. That way then nobody's got to worry about, has it been 12 hours since the last time it was bump tested? If I stick it in, is it actually going to go? All that stuff. All you have to do is you just stick it into the docking station and it will run through and do the bump test. So, again, I'm going to click on cancel. And you guys can turn that on whenever you want. If you do need any additional help with this, we have videos out on our website showing you how to navigate iNet Control underneath our training portfolio on our website, which is indsci.com. And also, you can feel free to call into our tech support at any time, which is 1-877-367-4638. And they are extremely well versed in getting through iNet Control. They can make changes just for you, and then all you'd have to do is just dock the instruments. So, all right. So, that, and let's take a look here. So, let's see here. Okay, so Mario, you said we shouldn't need to change the TWA or Stella alarm limits because how we are using it, chance of us exceeding them would be rare, correct? Well, yes and no. HCN, as we know, it's prevalent in overhaul situations because of all the burning plastics and everything else. If it's in a high enough concentration, you have to understand TWA, yeah, it's based off of an 8-hour time frame, but if you exceed the limit of the gas before that 8-hour time frame, it's still going to go into the TWA alarm. And what that's saying then is I've seen people who have, because of the high dosage that they were in, again, you guys are going to be under air probably during all that. You can actually have it exceed the TWA within a couple hours, or that's usually in like a warehouse situation. But like in your situation where you're going to have a lot of burning plastics, you're going to have the high levels of CO and HCN in there, you could exceed it before that 8-hour period. I mean, well before it. Within 45 minutes or so. You could just run with them as they are for now. And if you do find that later on you need to change it at that point, and there you go. So it's kind of up to you on how you want to run with that. Good question, though. Any other questions? You can either unmute yourselves or type it into the chat. All right. If there's no other questions or anything right now, I do appreciate you guys getting on the call earlier this morning here so we can do this. If you do ever have any questions or concerns, please feel free. Reach out to Industrial Scientific. You can reach out to me directly. Brandon has my contact information, but also if you contact the company and just say, hey, I want to talk to John in training, I'm the only John in the training department. So I'll be more than willing to answer any questions at any time. Thank you guys, and be safe out there, and just I appreciate everything that you guys are doing. So thank you. And I'm going to stop the recording, and then if we